Hi, everybody. This is Miguel, founder of My Driven Life, and today I'm going to talk to you about weight loss and why it's so controversial. So, the reality is that weight loss has done this, right, as an industry in and of itself. The truth is that there's been a lot of lies and a lot of very unsustainable methods that have been promoted, right? It's a huge industry, and it's one of the main three things that us as humans we're always seeking, right? One is more money, one is better relationships, and the other one is just to feel happier ourselves, right? So no wonder it's been an industry that's made tons of money for ages, right? The problem obviously is that there has been a lot of very unsustainable, very unhealthy approaches to weight loss. And because of magazines telling you, hey, you should look like this, you should look like that, it's been easy to, well, look at those parameters and say, well, I don't look like that, so now what, right? And so there's been guilt, there's been those feelings of inadequacy. It's easy to look at some of those people that look like absolute freaking photoshopped models, right? And be like, oh my god, look at him, look at her, and look at me. I look nothing like that. And that can do a number in our head, right? So I think there's a few different things to break down here. One thing is that, and on the other hand, there is this: the pendulum has swung, and quite a bit, right? So it's almost like back in the day, everybody thought that the best was to be, as thin as humanly possible, regardless of how you felt. That was the standard, right? What everybody wanted, and obviously that led to many problems. And then the pendulum has swung to, to the other side, where it's like, hey, it doesn't matter where you're at in terms of your weight. You should just be happy wherever you are, and you should not try to change anything about your body. And I think that the reality is that the message gets a little bit lost, and it is easy then to point at everything that talks about improving your fitness, your potential for being around in this planet for a little bit longer, your longevity, and point at it and basically call foul, because we remember the standards of the size zero models and what have you, right? But I think that both of those are very dangerous. I think that if on one side, I mean, of course, I think it's easy for us to understand that it is not ideal to be absolutely super thin. If that's what you want, then fantastic, but it does not mean that you'll feel better, right? There's a lot more to who you are and what you feel than the number on the scale. So that's a lie that was perpetuated by that approach. But then on the other side, the idea that no matter where you are, doesn't matter if you are 50, 100, 200, 300 pounds overweight, that you should not do anything to change that, and that doing anything to change that instantly means that you hate yourself, that you are unhealthy, and that you're messed up. I think that both of those things are very, very far from the truth, and I want to help you find the middle ground, right? Because I don't know you, but I was 80 pounds overweight at some point, and I didn't feel good about myself, and I mean, I had zero self-esteem. I struggled a lot with it. I went into relationships with people that I didn't even like, just because I was like, I thought I should feel thankful that somebody will give me the time of day, that somebody will listen to me, and that they want to be with me. Are you kidding me? Yep, you got it, right? Because my self-worth and my self-esteem was so low. So I know what that's like. But I also know that when people would tell me, "Hey, you shouldn't feel bad. You shouldn't worry about the fact that you're overweight. You should just, accept it and not try to change it," I know that that also didn't make me feel good. I know that I was like, but I want to change it because I really don't like me. And of course, it's easy to assume that the only part that I didn't like about me was my weight and my body and what I saw in the mirror. But the reality, what I realized as I got started in my fitness journey, in my weight loss journey, was that the weight was not the cause of my unhappiness. The weight was the symptom. Okay. I didn't like who I was because of how I made decisions, because how I faced challenges, because how I responded to life's curveballs. I had no self-respect for myself. And that is what led to the series of decisions that got me to 80 pounds overweight. So, you can see why it's a bit of a problem, right? If you say, I mean, of course, saying, hey, be the skinniest you can possibly be, get as light as you possibly can, because without that, there's no self-worth. Well, it's easy to smell that bullshit there, right? Of course, we know that's not true. Of course, like it's easier for us to understand that now. There's a lot of very unhappy people that are the skinniest they've ever been in their lives because they maybe only addressed the external, right? They only worked on their fitness and their workouts, but they didn't work on what was in their minds and in their hearts, right? So they get to a point where they're very skinny, they're very thin, they're very fit, but they hate themselves, right? And that's when body dysmorphia can come in, and you see yourself in the mirror and you go, not enough, right? Because again, you haven't worked on the heart and your mind. But now on the other side as well, when you go, well, I don't like me as a human. Forget about my body. My body is just a part of who I am. It's not who I am. It's not everything there is to me. There's a lot more to me. My ideas, my values, my thoughts, the how I show up for other people, how I face challenges. There's a lot more to being a human than just our bodies, right? So I think it is perfectly possible to love yourself. I'm not talking about loving the way your body looks. Those are different things. Your body doesn't equal yourself. And I think that's where we've gotten lost. There's a lot of people that think that any effort to improve yourself instantly means you hate your body. And it's not the case. It shouldn't be the case. It is not the case in my experience. And I've been working with people for almost 10 years, right? The reality is that let's go back in time. Imagine that here is 80 pounds overweight Miguel. I'm looking at myself in the mirror and I'm very unhappy about myself. I started my weight loss journey because of how I felt. Okay, straight up. I just wanted to change the external because I was not aware enough to identify what was going on internally. Okay. But it got me started. And along the way, as I made better food choices, as I did my workouts, as I challenged myself, as I became the kind of person that was consistent, that exercised self-control, that learned better ways to cope with emotions, with anxiety, with stress, you name it, well, I started to lose the weight. But something else that was happening is I started to gain my self-respect. I started feeling proud of me, not for how my body looked, but for how my mind worked, for how I was healing my heart, from years and years and years of mistreating myself and not making decisions that were in line with my goals, abusing my body. So then what happened is losing the weight became almost like a bonus. One of our coaches, and it's not rare to hear things like this from our clients that we work with. Sometimes they'll say, I would rather gain every single pound that I've lost, but keep the mindset that I gained. Think about that. And sometimes I'm talking about people that have lost 100, 150 pounds. Think about that. Imagine you having gone through that transformation and then saying, I would rather gain every single pound of those back than lose the mindset that now I have, than lose who I know I am today. That is awesome, right? That's insane. When you're stuck in that place, you're like, what? That's not possible. At least that's how I felt. The reality, guys, is that we need to keep our mind open, because just because we've tried something a certain way, just because you've tried to lose weight and it didn't work, it doesn't mean you did it properly. If you did it from a place of hate, if you did it from a place of wanting to look a certain way, and all you did was work on your food and your diet without addressing your mind and your heart, at best the results will be temporary. That is why most people end up gaining the weight back, not because of some mysterious bug that messes up your metabolism, or that the moment you're 45 years old, that's it all goes to shit. No, it's because we don't do the actual work that is required to transform from the inside out. Okay, I hope that makes sense for you. I've won 10 awards for the transformations of my clients, and this is something that I do out of passion because I've been there myself. So if you like this video, if you got anything from it, please drop a like. I'm going to start posting a lot more here on YouTube. Consider subscribing so that you don't miss these videos when they go up, and drop a comment so that I know what your experience with weight loss has been, and whether you are in one camp or the other, or if you found that happy medium for you. Awesome, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I love your faces, and I'll see you soon.